Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you guys are interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I wanted to remind you guys to be very aware and very careful about what your inner conversations are. Because your inner conversations, especially when it comes to things that you're manifesting, things that you are desiring, things that you want to see in your 3D reality, they can very well determine the outcome. So stay tuned because this is what I'm going to discuss. So like I just said, your inner conversations actually determine your outcomes. What does that mean? It means that they determine what you get to see in your day-to-day life, what you get to see and experience in your 3D reality. And most importantly, they can shape the outcomes of what you get to manifest. Whatever it is that you're desiring, whatever it is that you're working on manifesting, the inner conversations that you have with yourself, in your head, in your imagination, actually determine how fast your manifestation is going to come, and they determine how it manifests as well. So it's very important. So what do we mean exactly by inner conversations? Inner conversations are essentially our thoughts, the thoughts we all have in our heads, the dialogues and the conversations we have with ourselves all day long about anything, absolutely anything. It can be about our breakfast, it can be about our work, it can be about our car, it can be about our specific person, it can be about our family, whatever it is, we're always having inner conversations constantly with ourselves. So first of all, you need to realize that. Once you realize that, you need to start becoming very aware of what these inner conversations actually are, what these stories are that you are telling yourself about any situation. And since we are a manifesting channel, I'm going to focus it on the things that you desire, the things that you're manifesting. But inner conversations essentially refer to anything at all, any situation in your life, any person in your life, any circumstance, just absolutely anything at all. So then your inner conversations about your desires and the things that you're manifesting are essentially the thoughts that you're having about them, the stories that you build around what your desires are. Let's say you're manifesting a specific person. I know very many of you are actually watching this channel because you're working on manifesting a specific person. So let's take that example. What is your story around your relationship with your specific person? Is your story that they don't love me, they don't want me, I don't know if they will ever want to be with me, I don't know if we'll ever be back together, I don't know if we will ever be back in contact if you're in no contact, I don't know if we'll ever get married, if there's a third party, I don't know if they will ever leave the third party for me, things like that. Are your inner conversations along those lines? Or are they along the lines of, they love me, they want to be with me, I know we're going to be together, I know they're going to be mine, I know they're already mine, I know there is no third party that compares to me, I know that the connection they have with me, they have with nobody else, and things along those lines. I can guarantee you, especially if you've been manifesting for a while, that the main reason why you're not seeing your manifestation, if you're not seeing your manifestation, has to do with the inner conversations that you're holding within yourself. All the doubts, all the fears, all the insecurities, all the back and forth, all the hot and cold that you're experiencing within, it's actually getting reflected to your person. And that applies to every other desire as well, by the way. So this is the reason why your manifestation might be delayed. This is why you might not be seeing movement. This is why you might not be seeing things happening. Inner conversations can also be the dialogues you have with your person or with other people in your head about your person or about your desires. And a lot of the time, without realizing, you might actually be having fights in your head with your person or with other people, or you might be having conversations with friends in your head about your specific person, for example, and telling them unfavorable stories. So all these things get projected to your specific person or whatever the desire is, And then they get reflected back to you, because remember, everyone is us pushed out. Everyone is a mirror of ourselves. And not just everyone, but everything as well. Every circumstance, every situation. So our inner conversations, the stories we build around things, the dominant stories we hold in our heads about things, about situations, about people, about relationships in our life, absolutely get projected, absolutely get reflected back, and absolutely determine our outcomes at the end of the day. Neville himself stressed the importance of inner conversations. He explained that essentially our inner dialogues determine our outcomes, is what I just discussed right now. And he stressed that both in his lectures and in his books. In one of his lectures specifically, said very characteristically that people echo to us what we whisper to them in secret. I've always found that phrase very, very profound. What he was trying to say was that whatever we tell other people within our heads, within our imagination, however we project them, whatever opinions, whatever assumptions we hold of them, whatever expectations we hold of them deep down, they are going to reflect them back to us. And this is why our outcomes might not be what we desire. Our outcomes might be less than ideal, or they might be the exact opposite of what we want. Because if in our head, if in our imagination, we're holding unfavorable stories, we are attaching labels and meanings to things that do not align with our desired reality, and we assign meanings to whatever happens that do not serve us and do not favor us, then yes, those outcomes are actually going to reflect those assumptions. Neville also tells a story in one of his books about this woman who approached him to discuss with him what she perceived as a problem with, I believe, her boss. If I remember the story correctly, she was working at a theater, at a production company, and I believe she was the costume designer, and she had big problems with her boss, who was the producer, and she felt that her boss would always undermine her work, would never appreciate her work, would always be rude and mean to her, and she had a lot of trouble with that. She was very, very upset about that, and she just felt like her days were basically miserable because of that man and how he would treat her. So Neville then advised her to take a step back and observe her inner conversations. And he told her specifically, I bet that if you become aware of your inner conversations, you're going to realize that you're actually having fights in your head with that man, with your boss. So take a step back and observe your inner conversations and come and report back to me. So then lo and behold, a few days later, that woman came back to Neville and she said, you know what, Neville, you were actually right. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of what I was doing. But actually, every morning on my way to work, I would hold fights in my head with my boss. And I would imagine myself telling him all the nasty things that he would do to me and all the reasons why I hated him. And then I would start a fight with him in my head. And then I would go into work and that would get reflected back to me in the 3D. So then what the woman did was that she started having more loving conversations with her boss in her head, in her imagination. And she started feeling like the boss actually appreciated her work and that he was nice to her and that he was appreciative of her. And lo and behold, he reflected that back to her immediately. He started being nice to her. He started showing appreciation for her work. He started complimenting her about her work. He started being polite and courteous. And the woman just couldn't believe it, that it had all been in her head. It had all started from her. It had all originated from her. So once she changed her inner conversations, once she changed how she perceived her boss, the boss immediately changed. And he reflected a completely different image, a completely different version. So it's very, very important, guys, to be very, very aware of your inner conversations, of the stories you're holding in your head, of the perceptions you hold in your head about others, the expectations you hold, especially the expectations deep down. How do you expect to be treated? Especially when it comes to a specific person or other people in your life that are very important to you. Watch your inner conversations. Watch what your expectations are of them and what your perceptions are of them. And see if they actually match what you want. Chances are, if you're not seeing what you want in a 3D, at least to a good degree, to a good extent, what you're doing in your head, the stories you're holding in your head, do not match what you actually desire to experience. So what do? You shift that, and then you experience the shift in the 3D reality. It might take a little while. If it's an established story within you, it might take a little while to change your perceptions. That's okay. Keep practicing it. But start shifting now. Start the shifting now. Don't allow yourself anymore to hold inner conversations that do not favor you and do not serve you. There's no point in that. If you want to see something different, then you have to start within and start creating a different version of reality and a different version of other people and a different version of circumstances. So with all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.